Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Sunday. Good morning. Y'all, I'm so excited. Listen, I had an early tattoo date this morning, so I'm super hype. Would we normally be at a tattoo shop at 9:30 in the morning? No. But it was like this whole pre-birthday Valentine it was this whole event, and it was just fun and whimsical, and I'm kind of getting all my stuff pulled up in the background because my computer's lagging a little bit, guys. But yeah, it was just a sporadic thing. And yeah, 9:30 was the time that they had. So that's what we did. So what a way to start out your Sunday morning, right? Oh, I think this is going to be loud, guys. The music was buffering in the background. Oh, did it not do the... Hold on, guys. Okay. There it goes. Yeah, so how are you doing? Come in the room, friend. Let's pull up a chart. I'll tell you what. It has been a very busy week, you guys. Today's chart. I missed you. I know it's been crazy. It's been like we entered into the week with like all this weather stuff going on, and then I knew I'd had a weekend event, and so I'm also constantly tracking supplies. I have deliveries that are late, and y'all, it's just been a week. And then there's this interesting, I do lots of like personal one-on-one work and readings and stuff. I have a classroom that I teach, and we're always talking about how it's interesting when the lunar calendar, which is very different from the Gregorian calendar, of course, it kind of falls where, that's a little bit loud. There we go. Okay, there's our chart. It kind of falls where the calendrical month, the full moons are kind of developing more in the beginning of the calendar month. And it's really weird because I also have an offering that I do where we pull monthly major arcana cards together. And so I'm preparing all of that. And then we've got the full moon coming in, honey. We had all this weather going on. And then the weather was still weathering a few days. And so it's delays here, late starts here. It's all the things. What a week. And then we're still doing schoolwork in the background. So there's great content available at my school classroom. If you ever want to go check it out there, it's subscription based. Over here in the YouTube Soul family, we just be chilling and hanging out. We hold hands. We come back. We say, what is it the commercial says, y'all? You're in good hands. It's very Aquarius over here, honey. So come on over here. We're going to get you right and tight. We're going to realign your perspective. So yeah, I'm really enjoying. I was telling a friend, but I noticed this the day that it happened. As soon as Mercury shifted out of Aquarius, woo, friend, I know. Listen, there's let me say, there's caveats to every archetype of a zodiac, frequency. This is why I always tell people when we work through charts together, y'all, I got my dogs. Yes, I get my dog stuff for Valentine. It's not Valentine's. I know that's not the point. She has a big juicy bone, and she is just tearing it up, y'all. I'm so sorry. I hope it's not as loud to you on the video as it is to me, because she is really chomping that thing. Let's do some smudge. And let's, what else? Oh yeah, I want to light my candle that I've really been enjoying, my vanilla sandalwood. Get into it. I know, like you can smell it. Oh, it smells so good, y'all. It's a really good one. It's called Wanderlust. How appropriate. Yeah, so when we talk about, especially if I'm teaching or doing intuitive work with you in your birth chart, yes, you can go check out my website, wildwander.net, okay? I had stopped doing this, y'all, because it would always say the camera is getting too hot. But, bro, like, the candle is all the way back there. We gonna try it because it looks so nice. My fire placements with my Aquarius, we love to have a good flame burning. It's always, we'll leave the light on for you. Y'all remember that? We'll leave the light on for you. You're in good hands. Okay, that's the vibes. I think it'll be okay though. But yeah, I was missing my soul family. Over here, we don't affiliate. We don't have any goals for like monetization. I'm not knocking anybody who does that. I'm just saying I don't hold this space for that intention. I have other things that I've built outside of this container. So I love that over here we just be hanging out. You know, you want to learn about astrology. We're going to roll through. I know y'all got to hear her crunching on that bone. We're just going to have to make do, okay? We're going to roll through the wheel of the year together. I'll continue to reiterate before we chit-chat about the chart. It's so important. I want you, I will say, I urge you to, you know, be well-connected, communal, community energy, very Aquarius, right? Be well-connected in your brick and mortar, you know, communities and familial groups and all the things. Or child, be disconnected. I don't know, you might be doing banishing work. You might be snipping with the scissors out there. Do as you will. But I'm saying, as we progress further into the age of Aquarius, and as we progress further into Pluto, clearing the way and doing a lot of the heavy lifting, okay? Pluto and Aquarius, age of Aquarius energy is so good for you to be plugged into a soul family. And however you receive that is good for you, okay? You're going to need that. We need a place in these times for such a time as this. That we are in those times indeed. You need a place where you can kind of sit down, get you a little cup of coffee. You know, is it a YouTube person? Is it a teacher? Maybe it's a podcast. I don't know what it is, but we need spiritual alignment. We need, while we are a shadow frequency of Aquarian vibrations, and then soon before we know it, after spring equinox, we'll have Uranus also going to Gemini. So there's shadow air frequencies. Shadow Gemini, shadow Aquarius is that you inevitably, and you already are, being barraged with information and energy and exposure and thoughts and conversations and vibrational frequencies of word patterns, which is that of spelling. This is how Spirit says it. It's really good for you to be able to say, man, hold on a minute. Let me go tap in with my good friend. Let me go realign. Maybe you do it on a Sunday. Maybe you're just like, oh, I know that person shares, or they do their podcast, whatever it is. You know, I'll tell you, Molly McCord is great. Pam Gregory is great. Lee Harris is great. Heather Ainsworth is great. And a lot of people like Molly and Pam Gregory, who are very long-standing, book-published, teaching, very well founded astrologers, but they're also energy workers. They're also spiritual people. They also constantly share people and resources and point us in good directions. We need that. And you might make a marked, like a noticed difference. Child, I'm just thinking about all that we have going on here. We'll get into it in a minute. But you might notice a difference in the age of Pisces was much more like, oh, ye all shall come unto me and I shall point the way. You know, I'm not mocking it. I'm being kind of silly. I'm being facetious. But listen, you'll notice the difference in that the age of Aquarius is much more like, you will not go unto any one thing, and there is, in fact, not any one Savior. You know, you could think of Christed or Christos consciousness. It is all within the body. You know what I'm saying? Heaven is now in the breast, so to speak. When we think about that energy, that's much more like, hey, we're all going to come together with our cups of coffee and tea, and then I'll share, and then you'll share, and then we'll connect. And then maybe you have a resource and I'll tell you about my resource and we'll share the work that we've done together, because it's not a martyrdom. It's not a savior base. It's not, I know we could have a whole side coffee conversation about how figures like the Buddha or Yeshua, or you could pick many different ones. I know that they were never intending for it to be that, but that's a whole different conversation. I don't want to get derailed over there. It's a very valid point, but that was just the frequency of the age of Pisces. But that's gone now. So it is always good for you to, and that's why I miss y'all. Like, full moon weeks, they're just very crazy for me, and that's just what it is. And the way that they fall sometimes, I just, I had an event. We have all the things going on. Of course, made some beautiful, gorgeous, delicious, magical things. Oh yeah, let me show y'all. Look, is she cute? It's a whole backstory, y'all. But look, it was not really a big, I'm really serious about a lot of my tattoos, especially on my hands, because of the energetic work that I do, and because of how many people in any given week or day will be seeing these hands. They're my energetic tools. They're like my wands. So that's why I'm very serious about all the tattoos that I do and what I have. But it was kind of nice to just do something whimsical and fun, but it does have a story and it means something to me. So that was super fun to kind of go and do. I was just like, dang, I talked all about my tattoo. I didn't even show my friends my tattoo. Hold on, you guys. Hold on. I'll show you. Ooh, I smell deliciousness cooking in the kitchen. About to make all these foods. Ask me if I really care about football, y'all. No disrespect. Some people, I enjoy lots of sports. I just really don't get into football. But we're going to hype up the show and the music and the beautiful energy that the musician represents. That's awesome. But I'm also like smelling the stuff. Like, y'all know you got to eat certain food. I really do try to eat very whole and healthy and organic, but it's 80-20, y'all. So I'm really excited about some of the dips and stuff that are cooking in there, and I can smell them already. Look, this oil that I've been working on. It's like, it's called Smudge Love, you guys. And I just love to share my magical things with you. Right, look at in the flame. This one is mainly like lavender, chamomile, sage, and rose. And it's a combo of like a certain type of chamomile oil, certain types of rose oils, lavender, sages, stuff like that. When I tell you this smells so good, y'all. It's called Smudge Love. And what inspired it was, you know how you get those chunky, juicy smudge wands, and like they're so pretty, and they've got the lavender and all the chamomile, all the rose petals. You don't even want to burn it because it's so pretty. This is what inspired that. I've probably had the recipe for this oil, you guys. I did have some coffee too, on my whimsical outing, so the caffeine may be caffeining. Forgive me. We're also sitting down in an energetic space, so, I do tend to talk fast, but I get excited. I've had this recipe for, no lie, probably like 6-7 years. And I make this probably at least once or twice a year. Every year. It's so good. It smells so freaking good. It has that chamomile, ground apple, that appley, but it's like the crispness of certain sages that I like to use. Ooh, with the soft, like the delicate rose. She good, y'all. She good. It's so pretty too, isn't it? Like, it always looks like a tiny little spell in a bottle. I mean, in fact, that's what it is. But maybe you're working with blockages in the heart chakra. Interesting, we're talking about heart chakra because we're getting ready to transition. Slowly, we will begin to transition into more of a Pisces place, although the sun is still in Aquarius. So yeah, that's our little opening chit chat. How you guys doing? I missed you all week. But I did tell a friend, I said, I like markedly, palpably felt when Mercury shifted out of Aquarius. I have a lot of Aquarius placements. We still currently have, because Pluto's going to stay in Aquarius, right? But we still do have the sun at 19 degrees. We have, we have Mars at 12 degrees Aquarius. Excuse me, we have Venus. Pretty soon Venus will shift and follow Mercury into Pisces. So you're going to kind of feel the dissolve, kind of like a let go, much more flowy. Of course, we're going from the fixed air to the water. But I felt it. I love to channel, and there's great inspiration. There's beautiful cosmic alignment. You think of like iridescent, prismatic, diamond faceted, up way high in the stars and the grand high central suns and Sirius and Alcyone. This is all Aquarian frequency, right? Very, very cosmic, very up above, outside of the atmosphere, very plasmic, you know. And so it's beautiful. It's a great time for vision work, for inspiration, for receiving, you know, all of those things. And then they circulate through our body and our intuition. But on that shadow side, it can just be like, it almost feels like you're zing, 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 like constantly through your body. You can have a lot of anxiety, struggling with insomnia, not being able to sleep well. It's almost like overkill, you know? So if you're not pointedly, like very markedly doing your grounding work, if you're not able to take walks, go outside, be in nature, have a good exercise routine, if you're not mindful about what you're eating, you know, it can just be, it's like, I gotta pull my plug out of this socket. Okay. Whew. So I know, and because on top of that, now, I am so sorry. Did I just, no, not quite yet. Okay, I'm sorry. Not quite yet. Saturn is in Aries. But I just know that we also have kind of that Aries in the background with Neptune too. So I'm just saying it's been quite a time with this massive Aquarius stellium. So I noticed during the week when Mercury shifted into Pisces, and you could kind of feel, you know what I'm saying? Maybe like the anxiety or the tightness on your chest, maybe loosen just a little bit. We will feel kind of that balmy, you know, mermaid swimming through the water, a little more dreamy. We will feel into that. So I really did enjoy that. What is our rundown? Let's check it out, guys. When we look at the chart. So, of course, we know we opened February with a full moon in Leo. I think that was the last video. Dang, y'all. That week really did go by fast. We had the full moon in Leo on February 1st, right? So we did a video. That was the Last Jedi. Oh, yeah, that was a great channeling there. Oh, Uranus went direct in Taurus, you guys. That was on the 3rd. That would have been what? Like Tuesday of last week. So again, that was just one of those upticks in the middle of all those planets. That was before Mercury had went into Pisces. So Uranus goes direct, right? Neptune's already in Aries. We have all these planets in Aquarius. So talk about speed, momentum. I'm not going to say Aquarius necessarily in a speed. I mean, we can do it if we got to do it. If Uranus clicks in with us and says, hey, I need you to hook a left and just trust me, we'll hook a left. But more so like the amplitude, the high vibrational frequency, the charge, like electric, plasmic, you know what I'm saying? And then on the 3rd, Uranus goes direct. We're still in Taurus right now. We're still walking out the last bits of Taurus with Uranus. What degree is, we're still at the 27th degree there. Yeah. So we're still working out that last decan. But I'm sure we definitely, it's almost like, I don't know, an amplified urgency to kind of break free. Okay, the closure's got to close. The pattern's got to roll on out, you know. So we did have Uranus station direct. What else did we do? Yeah, I mean, definitely walking out this last decan of Uranus and Taurus with all the Aquarius frequencies. You know, how juiced up from that full moon in Leo. It's kind of like... I really, really gotta, there's no BS about it. I have to align. And it's time to rebuild the life. It's got to be in alignment with the values, right? So, and then of course, like I was saying, what would that have been? February the 6th, I think it was, Mercury went into Pisces. Yeah, that was on Friday. Okay. I really kind of felt this kind of, I don't know, it's almost like the image that Spirit is showing me with this is like, imagine you're walking on a beach and you receive an activation under a big full moon, and it feels like, you know what I mean? I'm seeing the star card, how she has one foot on the shore and one's in the water. And then what Spirit is showing me is like this person elevating above the water, like, this could be like meditation. This could be like receiving dreams, receiving downloads, that's like I was talking about. That multidimensionality, that energy coming in from the cosmos. And then the way that I see it is like, it's kind of like you come back down from that. Mercury goes into Pisces, And then it's like you're standing on the shore and the waves are lapping at your feet. You're kind of coming down. It feels like embodiment, but it also feels like we're still very much kind of swimming, ebbing and flowing in our intuition. It feels like I'm seeing a compass needle spinning. But then I'm also seeing like the chakras almost 360 degrees clockwise, spinning, spinning, spinning. But then they all kind of slow down. They all kind of come into harmony and get on the same frequency. This is how I see it, Mercury entering Pisces. I mean, we're still very much having a big thinking mind, higher chakra energy because we have so much Aquarius, right? But it's more about it's being checked to our inner compass, like your strengthening of how you connect to your own higher self or your intuition. We need discernment, but we need to be able to dream a new dream, right? Come with me and you'll see a world. Da, 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 da. That's very Pisces. We do need to be connected to our intuition, but we've got to also have feet on the ground, Uranus and Taurus going direct, right? So we can be prepared for the unexpected challenges because they're going to happen. You know what I mean? Today is Sunday the 8th. So on Tuesday the 10th, Venus will then also go into Pisces, yeah. So then we'll kind of feel that more like, whew, okay, I'm coming back to being more centered with my soul. I feel compassionate. I'm able to detach. Aquarius and Uranus still helping me with that, but I feel compassion. It's like a softening, Okay, you're right. I'm not going to close my heart down. I'm not going to not seek the vision of this path, or however that might be playing out in your life, right? And then, of course, I don't want to get too far ahead, but it's definitely notable that next week, Friday the 3rd... Honey... Okay. Oh, well, it is what it is, Spirit. Friday the 13th. Let's sign ourselves. Friday the 13th, Saturn will enter Aries and complete 29 and a half years of karmic cycles and roll out all kinds of new timelines. We will be focused on moving past limitations. We will go into our willpower. Our strength will be activated. We'll be courageous. We'll be taking action, all these things, right? And all of that energy will prepare us to enter our eclipse portals. So, child, what a time. All right. I want you to know, though, that Uranus going direct is a big one. It's a really big one if you want to sit and connect with, journal with, maybe meditate on. Because you got to think, we're preparing to close cycles. I want to say Uranus is going to be in Taurus until like April, like later April, I think, after the spring equinox. But this is a cycle that we've been working with since 2018, right? So talk about big breakthroughs. Talk about acceleration. It is time to pick up and move on to the future. It is time. You need to dot the last I's. You need to cross the last T's. Get grounded. Appreciate all the unexpected changes. There's a lot of things going on, and you may want to kind of connect with that energy of Uranus and Taurus intentionally, because this is the end of an era that's been going on since 2018, right? Uranus is a liberator. Uranus is going to push you out of a comfort zone. Uranus, which co-rules, Saturn and Uranus rule Aquarius. I know, right? It's as conflicting as you think it would be. Just trust me. But, yeah, I know, right? Age of Aquarius, we have all this Aquarius energy. And then we have Uranus making a big move, which co-rules Aquarius. So it's quite interesting to consider all that energy. But Uranus has a way of forcing you. It's like waking you up out of a bait and switch. The magician wants you to look at his table. He's moving his cups around. Uranus will instigate something, a tower, an unexpected blessing, a huge paradigm shift, a revelation of information. It can be a number of things, right? But Uranus's goal is to say, ooh, I'm trying to get you to look over here because either A, they don't want you to look over there, or B, you're refusing to see something that could really help you level up. Or C, it's just time for you to face something. You know what I mean? So Uranus has this way to kind of snap your head to the left and go, oh, shoot, I wasn't even looking at it like that. That's that Uranus energy, you know? Uranus being in Taurus has really like shaken up foundations, right? Shaken up what you value. What is it that you even decided made your life feel stable? And maybe you're liquidating a lot of things. It can be liquidation of assets. It can be the earth herself shaking up and going through a lot of changes, weather patterns changing, right? Fixed earth, Uranus, the rebellious, unexpected energy. So there's a lot of different things that have been going on with Uranus and Taurus. Think if a structure is rigid and the universe wants to figure out a resourceful, like a streamlined, efficient way to get you to detach from something. So we've been working with that energy as well. And I think that Uranus and Taurus has really taught us a lot about, you got to think alternatively when it comes to, why do I value this? Or if, in fact, I've went through a lot of stuff and it's reinforced that I value something, how much stronger do I want to align my energy with what I value, right? It's also definitely shaken up what it means to feel secure. You can't help but think about fixed earth, Taurus, Venusian, finances, things being shaken up in that way. So a lot to consider if you think about connecting with Uranus and Taurus, you know, one more time, or, well, we've got a little bit more time. We're going to work through the remaining ends of the winter, let the beautiful season and energy of Imbolc really unfold as we continue to work through February. It's kind of like we're going to complete things that are changing very quickly, and we're going to have, I mean, it can get a little impulsive, so just stay grounded, but it's kind of erratic. It's kind of unexpected, and it's like, oopsies, forgot that loose end was over there. I got to go tie that up real quick, or either I'm going to liquidate this because it's not even worth carrying forward anymore. So, that's definitely a good one to note if you study Uranus and consider kind of Uranus trining with Pluto, or some of the sextile patterns, or some of the trines that Uranus has been going through. But basically, the foundation of it is we got to progress together as a collective. We got to get rid of foundations that are not stable or sustainable. And all of that boils down to transformation in unexpected ways, right? Because we also have that Pluto and Aquarius factor too in the trine. So Uranus and Taurus is a good one to look at, a good one to read into and learn more about, while we still have kind of the remaining bits of that energy to work with, right? What else, you guys, in the chart? Oh, let me just remind you too that Black Moon Lilith being in Sagittarius is excellent. We're going to have that very powerful, that very truth-seeking rebel, that very bow my knee to who? You know what I mean? I know, right? Coupled with all this Aquarius. Oh, you used to see the planets know what's up. They are supporting us with energetic frequencies all the time, so we love to see it. Black Moon Lilith in Sagittarius is at the 5th degree. Black Moon Lilith will work that journey in Sagittarius. Remember, last year we talked a lot about her being in Scorpio in your 8th house. So you may be either learning about what your Black Moon Lilith placement is. It's not a planetary reference. It's like an apogee point of the dark spot behind the moon. It's very fascinating to learn about. And then, of course, learning about the lore, the mythology, and the studies of the Lilith archetype. They're super appropriate right now. Think Medusa, think Kali Ma, think, we have a plethora of divine feminine, more shadow divine feminine dark archetypes. They're beautiful and wonderful to study. So always going to remind you about Black Moon Lilith being in Sagittarius. We're going to have that placement until September. That's a really good one to kind of not forget is going on in the background. But yeah, I definitely, my Mercury is also one of my placements that's in Aquarius. So for Mercury to shift into Pisces felt really good for me personally. And again, that was on Friday. Mercury shifting into Pisces is also kind of prefacing that Mercury is going to do the first retrograde of the year in Pisces. And I think that's going to be great for us. It's going to kind of give us time to like realign with the soul, the intuition, because think we had Neptune, Saturn is finishing up the last bits of the Pisces energy. Neptune was in the Pisces transit for, over 11, 12 years, over a decade. It's almost like we get to do one more kind of long soaking soul spiritual bath. And Mercury in Pisces retrograde is going to bring us back and let us kind of lie there, dream there, bridge from there. And so I think it's good. We're really going to need that because it's really going to kick into high gear around spring equinox time. So I love thinking about self-love, about thinking of Venusian work, which is the heart chakra, which is the portal of the gateway that connects all the chakras together. It very much is a bridge in the body, whereas the stellar gateways of the chakras higher are like a bridge to more cosmic frequency. So you see how that connects us from the heart up through, maybe we would say, the pineal, and then up to the stellar gateways. So I love that connection. I think it is great to consider magic and ritual and the idea of, I teach Venus work and one-on-one things. It's like heart chakra and self-worth. And when you look in the mirror, do you ask yourself, why don't I think that I'm the most beautiful embodiment there ever was? And what are the blockages there that I don't think that I'm deserving to experience magic or certain finer things? I'm not being materialistic but I always teach people, Aphrodite and Venusian frequencies and love and romance and beauty is beautiful. I mean, I've been making tools and kits and boxes to amplify that magic for people, but the work of Venus and the heart chakra and all of these things starts within your own heart first, because that will put out a frequency that draws in your experience based on that, right? So that's a beautiful thing to consider with Mercury going into Pisces. How do you romance your own day? Because that's the frequency, the tone that sets what experiences, what people, what connections, what physical Venusian manifestations you bring into your life. I like that Mercury in Pisces gets a little bit more fluid. You kind of loosen up. Now, look, hear me out. It still is very fixed air out here in the ethers, but you kind of loosen that up a little bit and maybe play a little more in the plasmic realms. And so it kind of gives for creative muse and, softening, like I said, into intuition. We've got to couple that with the rational mind at the same time. And it's a little bit more fluidity. You know what I'm saying? Receiving message, being open to kind of receive messages from spirit in a little bit more of a fluid and intuitive way. So I love that frequency. I think that kind of touches on everything. There's gonna be, what am I thinking of? Is it it's this week, I think. Let me look at the calendar. The 12th, what would that be, like Thursday, Friday? I think Mercury is going to have a conjunction with the North Node, which Mercury in Pisces, North Node in Pisces. And then that will come into a beautiful trine with Jupiter. And Jupiter is in Cancer. So it's very, very beautiful. Emotional healing, moments of like soul shift. The soul really comes into the emotional maturity. Saturn completes that big journey with Pisces. It's such a great build up this week as far as like soul, faded, emotional maturity, magic. I'm hearing, do you believe in magic? Dun, 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 dun. That's what I'm hearing. It's very beautiful. Always, though, to address the shadow energy, we have to be aware that a lot of Pisces, we have a lot of fixed air, mental energy, maximum all-time exposure, lots of grids dying, lots of black magic, inverted, Saturnian box, tesseract, ugly. A lot of things are dying. So there is the shadow pressure. And so sometimes that drives us into kind of wanting to tap out and spiritual bypassing when we have a lot of those water placements coming together, Mercury in Pisces, North Node in Pisces, trine with Jupiter in Cancer, and a lot of things. Fixed air pressure in the mind, zinging electric frequency in the body, right? I want to pull one of these cards for us. So I'm going to go ahead and take this out. But just be mindful. Substance abuse, ways to escape. Alcohol specifically comes up with a lot of water sign energy and a shadowed frequency. And not just that, just ways that maybe you're tempted to roll back into an old habit or an old addiction because of a lot of this pressure to bypass the very tough things that are going on, that are being exposed, because the exposure is ripping off the Band-Aid. But it's so hard because you got to look at the nasty gook. You know what I mean? The lotus ain't going to grow if it doesn't feed on the mud, but you got to the mud is gross. It stinks. It's disgusting, but we have to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? So spiritual bypassing, looking for ways to check out of reality timelines right now. Be mindful of that, okay? But we have a lot of placements that help us continue to press for truth seeking, continue to be rooted and grounded in open to spirit, open to creativity, open to musing, new magical unfoldment of timelines, okay? I know, it is a very tricky balance, and I totally get that. I think that is kind of a good solid rundown, and any of those things, maybe you put put a pen note in it and come back to it, journal about it, meditate with it. Hey, listen, breath work is really important right now, okay? Because sometimes when we experience massive amounts of what we would call social psychological trauma, especially if you have CPTSD, PTSD, if you have all these things that you're already really, sometimes you just started working on it. I've been working on it for a decade and some things still trigger, and it's hard, okay? So we need to have stop points. We need to have reset points in the day. What do you do? Okay. You go for a walk. Okay. You find a voice that gives you light and you put it in your ears and you go take a walk and you listen to Molly, or you put me in your ears, or you do whatever. You play some sound frequencies. You go out and listen to birds chirping, and remember, this too shall pass. You know what I'm saying? And all is well, and all shall be well, and it shall be well, okay? Because the gag is to get you to stay stuck in anxiety and fear, and we're not going to do that, okay? It doesn't mean we're ignorant or we're simple, but we're not going to stay stuck in those timelines of energetic frequency fences. You feel what I'm saying? So what's the reset point? Maybe you light a candle. Maybe you sit down and you light a candle and you say, I'm going to take 10 minutes and I'm going to write this out, and then I'm going to write affirmations that tell me what my real energy signature is, right? Maybe you beef up your spiritual hygiene. Maybe you smudge, or you do a little bit of things a little bit more right now, or you schedule in an extra spiritual bath or a foot soak, whatever you need to do, right? Grab your gemstones and speak to your ancestors a few more times, okay? We're going to need that. We're going to need that, okay? Okay, let's shuffle the beautiful Seasons of the Witch Tarot. If you're new here and you haven't got a chance to see it, we love Lorianne Anderson over here. It's a great source. Let me get out the Oracle too. I use these a lot this week in readings, and so I thought I would share them with you guys. We love a good matchy moment. Look, my friend, shout out to Mama Cindy, Auntie Cindy, okay, for gifting me this. The energy was so good in the readings using these cards, so I thought I would share them with you today. Let me tell you something. If you do choose to watch a certain sporting event, if you do choose to listen to a certain very talented, beautiful, cultured musician who everyone is celebrating right now for good reason, let me tell you something about Mr. Benito, because let's get together and celebrate on the ancestral vibrational frequency. Do you understand how his ancestors are living through his actual blood and bone and body and DNA and voice and joy and celebratory honoring of his culture? You know that he is very Piscean. You know that he just recently completed his Saturn return in Pisces? Yeah, get into it, friend. He has a Mercury in Aquarius too, and I love this for him. But the lesson is that he embraces culture. He's very big about how his culture connects to his people and why they dance and why they sing and the drums and the somatic body movement and his whole message of, I just want the people to dance. Don't miss the energetic spiritual frequency. Don't miss how his ancestors are living to him, through him. And I feel you, like I can't really be plugged into a lot of that stuff either, just because of mass propaganda things and spell work on mass and da-da-da-da-da. We won't get into it. So maybe you're just like, I really can't tap in and why. I feel you. I hope you eat a good dip today if you want to, but maybe you just go play his music. And maybe you remember the lesson is that many cultures of ancestral lineage used to play drums in resonance with the heartbeat of the frequency of the earth, which is very Uranus and Taurus connecting with Aquarius. Maybe you are reminded that we are very much earthly beings, but at the same time, we're very much galactic cosmic beings, and we have to move our bodies and how we store old stagnant vibrational frequency, spell work, projections, all of these things in the collective, they store. You can check out the fascia, Fascia, the fascia of your body. We have to move our bodies, and dance is excellent for that. You know what I'm saying? Dance is excellent when your feet connect to the earth. Boom, 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 boom. Drums are great. Shaking your body, moving and getting up. So maybe you think about that today. Because, child, I know if you got a phone in your hand in one way, shape, or another, that music is going to come across your timeline. So maybe you're reminded of your ancestors today. And if for a second, everyone appreciates a rhythm and a flow and a drum beat and a joyful sound, and we are united in that frequency, I think that'll be a beautiful win. Don't you think so? And I love how spirit and the universe and the timelines and the magic and the synchronicity come together. Of course, reiterated by how amazing his chart is. Hello, Pisces and Aquarius frequency. I love it. It's so great. It's perfect how something that you would think is, what is this stage, and why do they do it, and money and greed, and you can think of all those negative things, but look at what it's being used for. You know what I'm saying? So that's an interesting thought. Maybe you go down with yourself, down a little rabbit hole there and think, maybe I'll dance a little bit today. I think that would be great. Don't you think so? Okay, let's see what the Seasons of the Witch Winter Tarot would like to share with us. The beautiful archetype of the goddess Bridget. I bet she would dance. I know she would. She would probably have a nice drum. I know she would have a bonfire. I know she would be like, I like this music. Right? And the lyrics sometimes when you read are very nice. All right, so let's see, Spirit, what is the message? Our ancestors, our spirit team, the elementals of the earth, all of the guidance that is supportive of the highest and best good and harming none. That is what we invoke here. Let's see, what kind of message do we have? I love reading from the book as well because it's just so beautifully written. And honey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Let's see what we have. Okay, we're going to pull these two that are kind of peeking out at us right here. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, let's see what we have, guys. We have 5 of Winter Pentacles. That's a good one. I know it's so tempting to be like, oh, that feels like loss. That feels like fear. That feels like darkness. But no, hold tight. You see all that light? The star card, Aquarius energy and frequency, is about a Hebrew letter called Hey, and it means a window through which the light can enter. And I always think about that when I see the 5 of Pentacles. You ain't going to see a bright, beautiful window lit up and maybe some gorgeous painted glass or stained glass or whatever it is, right? Unless it's dark outside. That's when you really see how beautiful it is, right? So we have the 5 of Pentacles and the 4 of Winter Pentacles. Do you see what these two have in common? Oh, wow. We went from the 4 to the 5. How interesting. Spirit says we're going to do it in that order. Okay, you see the light? I feel like this is for someone, but I'm hearing that line, because I knew you, I have been changed for good. I think having to experience and come into a knowing of many things, perhaps before we weren't really at a place where we were ready to know them or could have even processed that, right? They give us opportunities to shed light in dark places and really understand what kind of foundation we're building from, though, don't they? Okay, let's read. We have rest energy. We have rebuilding energy. We have challenges. We have fives are also beautiful energy where you learn that you can surpass your own self-imposed limits as well. I love all of the pentacles, the pentagrams in the light. You see that? They look like they're coming down like snowflakes here. There's also all the stars. Look at that. What is Starry Night? I'm hearing, isn't that a art, is that, what's his name? I'm sorry, Van Gogh? Is it Van Gogh? Yes. I'm seeing the Van Gogh picture, Starry Night. Hold on. Is there a message here, Spirit? Because I'm hearing it so loudly. Oh my gosh. He painted this in one of his big, bless him, and may he be a spirit guide, as I'm sure he is to us all, but he had a really troubled time with his mental health, right? So the history says that he was in the crux of like being in a maybe treatment facility, I don't know, some kind of facility, right? He was in a mental breakdown. And it is saying that the work, The Starry Night, right, Vincent van Gogh was... They say that the bedroom that he was in would face east. Okay, get into this. Right before the sunrise, which is how I like to actually set up my altars. I usually pick a window, excuse me, for a specific reason like that. But it says, ooh, it's giving, you guys. Hold on, Starry Night. It says he would watch... Sorry, it's just real metaphorical, right? He would watch during this time of his mental breakdown the sun rise, and where he was staying there was bars on the windows, and he would look for that sunrise, and he he would envision things and paint them, but he was actually looking out of that window that had bars on it at the time. Dang, y'all. You see that? I'm hearing locked in your own mental prison. Yeah. It says, when people study the work of this art, the Starry Night image, right? There are a lot of swirling, turbulent blue patterns and glowing yellow orbs. People would think that maybe it was representative of stars and a crescent moon. It says, and who knows, right? It says, but there's been a lot of studies done, and they confirmed that it seemed that he was trying to paint the brightest star in his painting. That would have been at that time Venus, right? The morning star. We also have cypress tree energy. Hold on, let me go. Yeah, I was just flipping back in this article. Let me scroll down to the actual picture. Yeah. Yeah, so cypress tree energy, Venusian morning star energy. The cypress tree, a dark flame-like tree, towers in the foreground. And some mused that it represented his own mourning. Mourning and mourning at the same time. Wow, how about that? Okay, anyway, that's interesting. I was just really curious about that picture. I never really stopped and read a lot about it. I mean, obviously you hear people talk about the Starry Night oil painting. It's pretty iconic, right? Hold on, I'm just following the rabbit trail, right? Because I feel like there's messages here, but we're also going to read about these cards from the book. I'm trying to load this little blurb because it's fascinating to me. Hold on, it's loading because I want to read it. Did you know? Okay, this is written by the Van Gogh Museum, right? It says, can we scooch it down maybe? Oh, yeah, I like that. That's nice. We can see the cards there. It says, did you know Van Gogh considered his Starry Night painting as a study? He saw most of his paintings as a chapter in an ongoing quest to find his own style and innovate his art. He said, I must draw and find a style. So he's always in a personal state of evolution. And that's even in the crux of, we know that he had a lot of mental health struggles, right? Very relatable, for real. It says, okay, it's just talking about like the artistic style that he was painting in. But a lot of the work seemed alive and moving. It's so crazy because it says, and I've read this before, that he thought, Van Gogh, right? He thought that he was an exaggerated failure. Wow. And that's crazy because maybe that's a message for someone. How, like, imagine him thinking about that and then knowing now how we look at his art. Isn't that crazy? But even through all of that, right? Very Mercury's, very Pisces, very Aquarius. You know, am I weird? Am I crazy? But you're expressing yourself and you're creating through your own unique spiritual understanding and your own vision of how you look at the world. And maybe the whole time you're thinking, this is crazy. And maybe you do feel crazy, and he was treated for supposedly being that way, right? But damn, y'all, that's just he was behind a barred window just trying to heal his mind, painting this stuff, if that is to be correct, right? I'm only going by articles of study. Of course, honestly, none of us were there personally, but whew, that's deep, you guys. Wow. Thank you, Spirit, for bringing that through. Okay, let's read the Four of Winter Pentacles together. Ooh, y'all, that got me, though, because, yeah, I'm sorry. It's just the metaphor of behind bars and everything going on. Ooh, child. Okay, listen. Let's see here. Let's flip to Pentacles together. Look how pretty. It's really a great book, you guys, honestly. All of the oracles are too. And I always tell people, they're just like, well, I don't know if I'd call myself a witch or a pagan. You don't have to. The Wheel of the Year is a beautiful way to return to nature's natural organic matrix, the one that is ascending into the 5D time grids with Terra Gaia, okay? The Wheel of the Year is beautiful no matter what you believe or don't believe. You're dogmatic, you're not. You're religious, you're not. It doesn't matter. Because we all connect to the same earth. Absolutely. No one is outside of that. So connecting with these oracle cards through the seasons, I mean, it's a beautiful, artistic, very spiritual way to connect with your higher self, but to also learn how the seasons and the patterns of the seasons flow through the Wheel of the Year. And honestly, we're flowing with like points of the sun, points of different equinoxes, points of different solstice. Ultimately, that's what we're doing, right? We love a good pagan time. We about to pick anything and celebrate. What you mean? It's halfway time to the point of blah, blah, blah. Bonfire. Bake the treats, right? Produce offerings for the beautiful goddesses and gods of the earth. Hey, like, count me in. Let's gas it up. I mean, look, at this point, what was it we were saying? Was that a collective or was that a personal reading? The song was coming through. You got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything. Okay. Yeah, honey, it's Blue Ridge Mountains, Appalachia over here in the foothills. We just sang that. Yes, we did. Okay, seriously though, and I'm just channeling, I know, but let's read from the book here. So we're going to start with the Four of Winter Pentacles, right? This young maiden is a hoarder and is deeply frugal. She keeps everything, even the fleeting snowflakes. Ooh, for fear she won't ever have enough. She's not one to share, and she's rooted in fear of lack or poverty. And it's this mindset that has caused her to feel so isolated. All around her, the darkness of loneliness creeps in, while her mind is solely focused on what she has rather than considering what her actions have caused her. I'm sure we have a plethora of examples of energetic, materialistic people, energetic vibrations, money, etc., whole pieces of land. Yeah, we could really expound on that hoarding, couldn't we? Aren't we seeing the karmic lessons play out in real time? I'm hearing how that work out for you. Yeah, because the energy, when it closes karmic cycles, Neptune closing 165 years, bam. Saturn closing 29 and a half years, bam. Uranus soon to be closing. I could go on. The karma will right itself. You know what I'm saying? That type of energy doesn't work out well. And it's isolated. It's lonely. It's rooted in deep sadness and shame of the self. So it has to come forth to be healed. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm tapped into. Okay. The Four of Winter Pentacles represents frugality and the isolation this type of mindset can cause. Being frugal isn't always bad, because there's a lot of Uranus and Taurus concepts about making sure things are sustainable, liquidating where you need to, rebuilding new foundations. We find that too in the Four of Pentacles, but let's go ahead and read this message here. This card reminds me of storing away food and supplies for the winter, and perhaps that's where this energy is rooted. True, yeah. Even though we no longer live as our ancestors once did, we still carry the psychological coding of survival. I mean, of course, we have to, right? To a degree. But I believe that humanity is ascending and shifting, and what does that mean? How can we do it as a collective together? Including the need to hoard to prevent starvation, and every person for themselves, only now it's being directed toward having enough money, fame, or respect. Exactly, that's what I was hitting on. Or perhaps power to ensure long-time stability. Your soul draws this card to you when you're in danger of choosing money over everything else, or fame, or right. It's rooted in a lack mindset is the point to get into, right? This is a lonely path, and you may find yourself lacking support later on, such as can be seen with the Five of Winter Pentacles, and we're going to progress to that. The good news is, when this card appears, it's likely that you're much more stable than you give yourself credit for, so you can afford to spend or invest if it's done responsibly. Additionally, this card guides you to look for abundance in new ways, Uranus and Taurus, hello, that have nothing to do with material possessions or possessiveness in general. How can you find abundance in what's around you? More importantly, this card reminds you that your worth is not based on just what you have. Ooh, we preach it, okay? If you're struggling with money, it may be time to think about how much value you place on material possessions. It's a big liquidation time en masse in the collective. And I always tell people, I get this question a lot, why don't you charge more? Because money isn't the only form of abundance to me. And I always have exactly what I need, exactly when I need to have it, in the exact amount that I need to have, at the exact perfect divine timing that it needs to come to me. And I say that. I say it every time it comes to mind. I go out of my way to say it, and I affirm it into the universe, because that's not the only thing that's blessing me with abundance, honey. Okay, let's move on. And also, Spirit is saying something about investment. Investment's not just money. Investment is time. Investment is attention. It's what you look at. It's what you listen to. It's what you pour your energy into. Investment is energy spent in the food that you eat, energy spent in the people that you hang with, energy spent in the material that you read. How much time did you spend on your phone? When's the last time you actually read a book? You know what I mean? You keep saying you're going to invest time. You see what I'm saying? Investment is very different things. Okay, moving on here to the Five of Winter Pentacles. Remember the young maiden from the Four of Winter Pentacles? Here she finds herself destitute both physically and emotionally. She spent so long being focused on building her fortune to the detriment of everything else that now she has no one to turn to, or so it seems. Just before her lies an open door with the promise of warmth and a helping hand, but she's forgotten what it means to work with others and what it also means to ask for help. obviously we can see underlying themes here of being helpful to people in their times of need. Your body is a vessel that is a manifestation of abundance and energy and time and resources, etc. How do you help those that are in need with it? That's a great point with these cards here. I have always referred to the Five of Pentacles as the bankruptcy card. Ooh. I heard spiritually, energetically, mentally, physically. Bankruptcy, I'm seeing with a question mark. I don't know. It can be in the true sense of the word, but mostly it represents exactly emotional and physical bankruptcy. The Five of Winter Pentacles is the kind of cards you might pull when you're experiencing consistent blocks in your energy or way of life. Money is not flowing as freely, your vitality seems to be low, and generally you're feeling as though no resources are available to you. And this can also be like, psychologically, mentally, spiritually, when you're feeling tapped out and overwhelmed by the energy and the times and this fast-moving wheel of the year and just everything, It can be that as well. Receiving this card is validation of your experience while also reminding you that nothing lasts forever. This too shall pass, all shall be well. Remember that? However, if you focus on your problem without seeking solutions, then your situation may endure a much longer winter than it needs to, child. I tell you from personal experience, okay? The Five of Winter Pentacles follows the Four, which represents frugality. In an effort to hoard your resources, you've now found yourself alone in your time of need, without the skill to reach out to others for help. In that sense, bankruptcy applies to the ego. Now having to face being without all of the things it used to determine its value of, and often at the exposure of at the expense of relationships or the ability to seek alternative resources. This is kind of like how these timelines are dying out too, mind you. Okay, because Saturn is being freed from a lot of projections, spell work, old archetypal agreements, spiritual vibrations that were very dark. Okay, Saturn is shifting out of this energy. So a lot of these timelines are feeling cast out, and rightfully so, as they should be. However, nevertheless, this card almost always features a sign of hope. There's help available if you're willing to put aside your pride and acknowledge that sometimes miracles occur when you ask for help. So someone may be looking for a miracle right now. Look, honey, if you out there looking for a miracle right now, this is one of your best timelines you could ever be in. I guarantee you. Okay, let's close by also, because we have to, it's matchy. Let's pull a Seasons of the Witch card. Hold on, I have a lot of boxes over here. Okay, Spirit, what do we need to see? Four of Pentacles, Five of Pentacles, okay. Light in the dark, keeping faith, keeping hope, helpfulness, generosity, liquidation. We also have helping those in need. We also have assets. We also have struggling to release ourselves from a lack-based, fear-based mindset. Okay, what else can we see? What else can we know, Spirit? What else do we need to share? Okay. Okay, wow, listen, get into the North Star card. Oh, 3 + 2 is a 5. Yeah. We definitely have some challenging energy. Maybe you're feeling that in your life. Maybe you are being challenged to leave old places and spaces and to evolve, and it feels scary. I am an embodiment of what I seek, walking with purpose while focused on my path. This makes me think about the Star card, Aquarius energy. This makes me feel like, remember when I was telling you the image? Oh, in the beginning, I was like, I'm seeing her and she's got one foot on the shore and then she begins to levitate above the ocean water, but then she comes down and the waves are just lapping on her feet and her chakras were all coming into harmonization. Look, it's the alignment. Look at all the flames and the beautiful energy of the goddess Bridget. Look at the stars and the moon in her hair. That's beautiful. Okay, let's read about the North Star together. Okay. It says, having purpose, focus, knowing yourself, and reorientation. Okay. Polaris, which is commonly associated with Aquarius and the North Star. Remember, we even mentioned Aquarius, the Oriel, the stained glass window, the Hebrew letter He that means window, so that the light can come in. Polaris, more commonly known as the North Star, is unlike any other star in the night sky. While most stars appear to change their position as the Earth spins, in the northern hemisphere, the North Star will always guide you north and give you a way to orient. Yep, the Oriel, right? Orient your direction when you are feeling lost. The southern hemisphere counterpart to the North Star is considered to be Polaris Australis. Wow, I didn't know that. It is also known as Sigma Octantis and faces south. Wow, okay. Learned that today. This card encourages you to find your own North Star, the personal values, beliefs, or purpose that you can come back to when you've lost your way. That might be a cause you feel deeply moved by, or the love of your family, a goal you wish to achieve, or a mantra you've chosen to live your life by. However, of all the ways to stay centered and intentional, knowing thyself, right? Know thyself. That's the biggest facet of alchemy, right? Knowing yourself is perhaps the most important reason of all. You may need to detach from your situation or the people around you to reconnect with the center of your sky, which is yourself. Because you are your highest and best teacher. You are your highest and best, most evolved version of a guru for yourself. You can connect with higher, different multidimensionalities of yourself. You see what I'm saying? Distractions have caused you to blow off course, but there is still plenty of time to make necessary adjustments. Yes. You know what? Hold on, guys. Because I knew you. Dun, 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 dun. I feel like we should pull a Green Witch Oracle, so we're gonna do it. Thanks for hanging out with me if you're still here. I appreciate you. Oh, child. There she goes. All right. I love this deck, by the way. This one is by Erin Murphy. She wrote the Green Witch book. And this is a gorgeous deck. Love it so much. I used these in a lot of my monthly major arcanas this past week. So beautiful. What can we add to this message, Spirit, for the collective that is watching today, that is being activated and evolving and healing and growing with us, with me today? Why do I keep hearing that? Because I knew you, I have been changed for good. Okay. Let's see what we have. Ooh, we have roots. We have the Orphic egg. We've got that beautiful Uranus and Taurus frequency here. We've got some death energy, some scorpionic frequencies here. You see all of that? That's what's under the soil, my friend. Roots, healthy patterns, and early growth. Okay, beautiful. Let's read it together. Y'all, it's not been an index in the back of this book the whole time. Y'all should have seen me flipping through this book. That's too funny. Okay, 99, page 99. We are ending the cycle. A 9-9 inevitably leads over to a 0-0, a 10-10, a 0-0. I'm hearing completion. Healthy patterns, early growth. Roots create a foundation, giving a plant stability and strength. Twining deep throughout the soil, they are both anchors and explorers seeking water and nutrients to feed the plant. Roots expand and divide, creating beautiful patterns. Beautiful natural patterns, okay? The natural pattern that you are is beautiful, Spirit is saying. The root card reminds you to make sure your project has good roots. Okay, that takes us back to alignment, doesn't it? We were just teaching in a school module this week. I did a bonus, like, whole in bulk teaching and tied the tarot cards and all this stuff in. And we were teaching about how important it is for the magician to be aligned, because we were studying the magician with a star. Don't race through this early stage of creation. That's the exact season we're in right now. Okay. If you ensure a healthy foundation in the early stages, your project will have a better chance of success. Like a strong root system that will support and nourish a plant, it's important to establish routines and healthy patterns that you can rely on when life gets chaotic. As it will, honey, with all this fire coming in this year of the wheel, Jupiterian expansion. Woo! And then in the summer, Jupiter going to go into Leo. I know. Okay, one more time, Spirit said, like a strong root system that will support and nourish a plant, it's important to establish routines and healthy patterns you can rely on when life gets chaotic. A reliable foundation, hello Uranus and Taurus, will bring you confidence and reduce pressure in times of stress. Reflection Point says, do you need to go back to the foundations of something to examine them and perhaps reinforce them? All right, you guys, I'm going to close it there. I hope you enjoy the rest of your beautiful Sunday and take good care. I look forward to connecting with you guys soon. Okay, love you. Talk to you soon. Bye.